right arm and also on the hand. So those were the only bruises that you saw on her right side.
Dr. Forney took tissue samples from all of the bruise sites and returned to Sweden. He discovered that Shannon's right wrist and upper arm had much higher concentrations of succinylcholine than her other tissues, an indication that Davis had injected her twice. Based on that evidence, David Davis was finally charged with Shannon Moore's murder. When police went to arrest Davis, he was nowhere to be found. The search for Davis dragged on for months. Police believe that David Richard Davis murdered his wife by injecting her with a lethal drug, making the death look like a horseback riding accident. The drug he allegedly used was believed to be undetectable, but a team of determined toxicologists found it. For 8.5 years, Davis lived in police before they finally got a break. The story of Shannon's murder appeared on network television. An old girlfriend of Davis's called the police department.
About an individual that she thought could be David Davis. She
The caller revealed that Davis was living in American Samoa with a Samoan wife under the name David Meyer Bell. In the 8 years since Shannon's death, he had lived in California, Alaska, and Hawaii. He had taken flying lessons and had become an expert bush pilot. The FBI arrested Davis at the Pongo Pongo Airport, and he returned to Michigan for trial.
We know that he courted and dated several women before Shannon and asked each of them to marry him in an extremely short period of time. Something like 14 months. He asked 5 different women to marry him. The first one who said yes became his victim.
Bloomer said the motive was money, and that the murder was premeditated. Prosecutors believe that after the couple left Dick Britton's farm, Davis coaxed Shannon off her horse under the pretext of having sex. The couple had a habit of making love outdoors. As Shannon took off her shoes and unbuttoned her blouse, prosecutors believe
Oh, very
Davis
creepy.
snuck up behind her and injected the succinylcholine in the shoulder. The injection didn't take effect immediately. The two fought, batting down the grass. He then hit Shannon on the head with the rock and injected her again, this time in the wrist. The dose killed her instantly.
If you were given an injection of succinylcholine outside of the hospital where they can help you breathe by a respirator, you'll die of suffocation, and that's exactly what happened to Shannon Davis. I believe that the succinylcholine answered the ever-present question of if she didn't die or be thrown off a horse, then what killed her? We had to have that answer for the jury.
The jury deliberated for 2.5 hours.
My heart was pounding so hard, and I thought, it's over. We've got him.
David Davis was found guilty of first-degree murder.
The courtroom just full burst in applause, and instead of standing around and shaking hands, I had to leave. I had to leave the courtroom. There's a law library right off the courtroom, and I had to go in there. And it was pretty emotional.
He was sentenced to life in prison.
Coś się dzieje. No, sport jest
Right afterwards,
super mega.
and we were down and said, we got him. He was that good of a liar. Something I shouldn't feel too bad that he does. But I think I heard the killer all that time didn't think I should have picked some milk, and I didn't.
The surf and sand of Central Florida make this a popular vacation spot, but the area lost some of its luster in 1995 when a serial set up shop. After the fourth body was discovered, police knew an important detail about the
Dang, some luster.
Tampa, Florida is known not only as a tourist destination, but it also has more thunderstorms than any other location in the United States. The name Tampa is derived from the Calusa Native American word meaning lightning. Along with the tourism, there's prostitution. On October 20th, 1995, a pizza delivery driver discovered the nude body of a white woman in nearby Clearwater. 42-year-old Wendy Evans was a crack cocaine addict recently released from a mental health clinic. She was last seen hitchhiking in an area frequented by prostitutes. Wendy had been beaten and strangled, but there were no signs of sexual assault. The body had been dumped, meaning she had been killed elsewhere. Not surprisingly, a thunderstorm washed away possible evidence.
One of the smaller facts.
Who shot it here?
We looked to find someone with clothing on. We were doubtful we were going to get too much. So we were going to have to use anything and everything else. Luminous microscopic materials that eyes could not see.
Investigators used a Lumalite to examine the body. This device uses high-intensity light higher than sunlight, which causes man-made fibers to glow or luminesce.
We felt it very important to use the device like this case because of its power. Daytime, even though it was outdoors, to do search of that area in search of the victim's body for potential evidence.
The Lumalite revealed several tiny fibers on Wendy Evans's body, which were taken to the lab for analysis. The Lumalite also revealed a few strands of dog hair. And about 7 feet from where the body had been dumped was another potential clue, a possible result of the rain. A tire impression. Using dental plaster, which hardens quickly into a flexible mold, police made a cast of the impression, which was photographed for analysis. The tread patterns were clear, meaning it was from a relatively new tire, which had a small stone lodged in the tread. Just 1 month later, police had another dumped body. 2 teenagers found the nude body of Peggy Darnell, a 40-year-old Clearwater prostitute in the woods near a highway. She had been dead for at least a week, maybe longer. Her body was decomposed to the point that no significant evidence was recovered. Police believed the murders were committed by the same perpetrator, and they quickly searched for other similar crimes in their cold case files. They discovered another unsolved case. 16 months earlier, LaDonna Jean Stiller's nude and decomposed body was discovered in a vacant lot in downtown Clearwater. The cause of death, like the other cases, was strangulation. LaDonna was a former model, a waitress at a local sports bar, and had previous arrest for prostitution. She was the single mother of 2 children. Police suspected they had a serial killer. That was one step ahead of their investigation.
In his mind, he felt that he had denied us the physical evidence that would have tied him to a crime scene. The bodies had been taken to remote areas. They had been stripped of their clothing. They had been moved from the original crime scene. So all of these things he had done to prevent us from catching him, from finding evidence that would lead to him.
Investigators, fearful the killer would strike again, were racing against time. In the fall of 1995, police in Clearwater, Florida had 3 murder women. Their bodies found in deserted locations.
I'm not dead.
With the passage of time between these 3 murders, police knew they were dealing with a killer who lived in the area and not a tourist. Serial killers tend to hunt for victims close to where they work or live. Although the victims were nude, the killer left behind some clues. Scientists analyzed the fibers found on Wendy Evans's body. Fiber specialist Jerry Serino discovered that most were nylon, made of polyester. All were triangular or trilobal in shape, and all were dyed with the same chemical, pink. But this positive news didn't come in time to save another life. On January 18th, 1996, there was a 4th victim. 27-year-old Cindy Pugh,
Anyway, stop
recently
losing. Just
moved
go
to
around and keep
Clearwater,
trying to
Maine, was beaten, strangled to death, and her body
Why
dumped
does
in
it
an
do
industrial
that?
area near a dumpster.
Please, dude, don't do
Light
this.
was brought to the scene, and again, it revealed the pink fibers.
You kidding me, dude?
I can say that these fibers from the
Why is this fucking game so trash, bro? Fucking piece of fucking
share
shit, dude.
a common source. I think after all the examinations
Oh,
that
man.
that the fibers
Game
of
so
these cases
trash.
were very
No, I don't feel like fighting a fucking boss.
Another unusual piece of evidence was what looked to be a piece of cigarette paper on Cindy Pugh's body.
The little piece of paper that was found on the breast of one of the victims, if we would have got there maybe half an hour later, it was ready to blow off. It was barely sticking to the skin.
The cigarette paper contained saliva, enough to get a DNA profile. What was the DNA? Dog hairs were also found at the scene. The dog hairs were sent to the FBI and identified as those of a pug. The pug is a toy-sized dog with a very low tolerance to heat, making them somewhat uncommon in states like Florida. Investigators sent photographs
17, let's go.
near Wendy Evans's body to Peter McDonald, a forensic analyst who literally wrote the book on the identification of
17.
tire impressions. He recognized the tire immediately.
Dude, can we do a 20 bombs? 8 left.
And thus it was just amazing.
Bot lobby, man.
It was a tire that I had designed when I was a nurse.
We had no idea that he was the designer of the tire we were looking for. So that was just a very lucky break for us also.
The tire was a Firestone Radio ATX, last manufactured in 1992. These were aftermarket replacement tires used on small pickup trucks and sports utility vehicles. Police researched sales records on how many of these tires were shipped and sold in Florida. And they got a break. The ATX was not a best-selling model. and only one dealership in the entire state of Florida had sold the ATX tires in the last 12 months.
Tires and tracks can be very valuable. Better weapons, actually.
One set was purchased by a woman living in 0 just 3 miles north of discovery. And she also
19!
a dog. Florida investigators were on the hunt for a
Let's
serial
go!
known to be driving a vehicle with Firestone radial ATX tires. Police discovered that a woman living in the area, Terry Jo Howard, purchased a pair of Firestone radial ATX tires a few months before the murders began. Terry Jo lived with a boyfriend,
20 bomb!
James Randall.
No!
We went to the Florida address at night,
Do it, bro.
and they had a detective sneak up on the vehicle and identify the tires on the vehicle.
Got 20 kills, man. Leave me the fuck alone.
Tires that Peter McDonald said they were.
Terry Jo was a recovering drug addict and a former prostitute. James Randall was a construction worker. Terry Jo also had a dog, and she would walk in the neighborhood. Local prostitutes identified Randall as a regular customer. Police surveillance teams followed Randall for days and followed him into a car dealership, driving the vehicle with the Firestone radial ATX tires.
Not wanting to give away anything, the officer stayed in the background, and the dealer took the 2 tires off and replaced them. Then the detective called me from the side and he said, "We've got the 2 rear tires."
But investigators needed all 4 tires to get a proper match. So police devised a ruse. Posing as an employee from the tire dealership, a police detective told Randall that his new tires were defective. But if he brought his car in right away, he'd receive 4 brand new
What?
tires for free as a gift.
Fuck yeah.
Convenience.
Go!
Terry Jo Howard showed up.
Oh my god.
For 4 brand new tires.
What happened to the last guy? I don't know. But